Alright guys, this is a second Aleague video for the actual season. We had the first round of fixtures last weekend and I wanted to do a review video and a separate preview video, but no. I'm here today, it'll be uploaded on Thursday, to talk about week 2. There's not going to be any recap of week 1 because I was fucking mentally scattered after the weekend. It was so weird having things on. Like, sometimes I have obligations, but I don't care. But I actually legitimately wanted to watch the A-League, and it was very odd making an effort to get up for a 1 p.m. game against, like, Wellington against Adelaide the day after Sydney had lost to Melbourne Victory. Like, all I wanted to do was stay in bed, but no, I had obligations. So I was just exhausted from the weekend, and also I really strained my voice on Saturday night. A real pussy injury, but nonetheless I strained my voice and it just felt really weird talking. Like I was not in agony, but I was in discomfort. So yeah, no review video. Hopefully I'll do separate videos next week, but yeah, here we are for the A-League round 2 preview video. And at the moment, the league is, I mean, look, week 1 also wasn't that interesting of a round. Like, I know there was a big blue and Melbourne Victory beat Sydney, but besides the fact that I'm irate and would kill kittens right now and feel nothing, it wasn't that interesting of a week. Like, the games were pretty on the rails, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it was still entertaining, it was still good watching football, but I don't really feel the need to, like, dive in depth. I don't think there's much that you could pick out from going in depth into those games, so it's not a bad week to miss, but I apologize for it, because I did want to do it, and I'm sure some of you guys wanted to, you know, hear some in-depth review shit. So, yeah, hopefully next week. Fingers crossed. But yeah, today we've got 6 games to talk about, and hopefully 6 games actually go ahead this weekend after, you know, last week, the F3 derby getting rained out. And the first match we've got coming up is Brisbane versus Melbourne City. And I like this match. I think it's quite a fun match to start the weekend because Melbourne City, like, they should be winning this, right? Brisbane, nobody really considers them a team on Melbourne City's level, and neither do I. But I am going to advocate quickly why Brisbane could have a shot, and it's basically that they actually looked okay against Macarthur. Like, they didn't look like they were going to win the league or nothing, but they held their own, they kept a clean sheet, and they could potentially do that against Melbourne City, who, while they look good against Western United, they did win only 2-1. A win's a win, and you want to get 3 points on the board. Like, I'm not knocking it really, but they could have definitely had more goals in that Western United game. And if Brisbane can come out and just defend well, then I think we could see Melbourne City struggle. And as we know, Brisbane have a little bit of firepower up top with Charlie Austin and a few quick players around him. So they could cause issue for Melbourne City, but really, if Melbourne City want to be champions, and I expect they are going to be, you know, fighting very, what's the word? They'll be fighting very aggressively to be champions of the league. And, you know, if they want to do that, they got to go out and get 3 points against Brisbane. So I think they'll have a tough game on the cards, but really, Melbourne City should be winning this, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for City. Then I'll move on to the next game of the week, Newcastle versus Perth, a game that I actually want to go to, just to check out the Terrace Novo Castria. They've been, I mean, this isn't like a Terrace Novo Castria fucking in-depth, but they've been around for a while, and I've never really got to experience the atmosphere they create, because when Sydney go up there, we out-sing them. So I'm looking at going to this match, but who knows with the Sydney weather and everything. Either way, it looks fucking dull, besides the potential for a bit of fucking singing and me getting to watch some fucking singing. It seems like a really dull match. I mean, most people would have had Newcastle and Perth in their bottom 2. I mean, fuck, they finished bottom 2 last season as well. Yeah, these two, not going to be a good match. And I think Newcastle will be winning comfortably because Perth have either come to Sydney, travel back to Perth, and then travel to Newcastle, or been on the road for a week. And that's going to be a disadvantage. Along with that, they just look shocking against Western Sydney. Like, it was a really dull game, but they didn't really offer anything. And I think Newcastle, with a few good attacking players, Brandon O'Neill going up against his former club, maybe Matt German at the back, will just have the man-to-man advantage, and they'll probably see off Perth rather easily. And actually, don't forget, Newcastle can put in some entertaining performances. Like, they're not a very good team, but I think if there is a decent golfing class between them and Perth, they could potentially be putting, 3 or 4 past them. But I think I'll just go with 2-0 Newcastle. It seems like a safe tip. And yeah, that'll be the first of the Saturday games. And the second one, the marquee fixture of the round, Melbourne Victory against Western Sydney Wanderers. And for some reason, it seems weird that this isn't being played at Marvel. Like, I know Victory and Wanderers have played at Amy Park before, but this just feels like a fixture that, you think of Marvel Stadium when you think of this fixture. But sorry, just needed that. No idea why. I should have done it before the video started recording. But this is kind of like the Brisbane versus Melbourne City game, where we saw how Wanderers played last week. It was pretty shit. We all every intelligent A-League fan expected Western Sydney Wanderers to be shit, and Melbourne Victory got outplayed or semi-outplayed. They had a difficult match against us on Saturday, and they got the result, which is a mark of champions in my mind. Obviously, they're not champions yet, but it gives them a good... It's what champions do. They play tough games, they play in tough conditions, and they come away with wins. That's what Victory did, and I expect them to do the same against Western Sydney Wanderers. I think Wanderers are a crap side, and Victory will 90% chance be doing their fucking heads in on Saturday night. But, I'm a Sydney fan, and Victory, even though they're on the same points as Western Sydney, are a better side than Western Sydney. So I give hope to Victory fucking up, but I don't know if that's just pure footballing passion or if there's actually a chance that Wanderers can get a win. But if I'm giving my honest and realistic opinion on this game, it would be a comfortable Melbourne Victory win. Although, I don't think they're going to smash them. I don't think it'll be like a 4-5-0 affair. I think it's going to be one of those comfortable 2-0, 3-0 wins where you have definitely smashed them, but it's not, an embarrassing scoreline. So, yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 for this game to Melbourne Victory. The next game, we've got 3 games on the Sunday, which means I'm going to have to miss 2 because Sydney are playing, and I'm going down, of course. Very cheap away day. I think I'm going to try and keep it cost effective. See how cheap I can do Melbourne away, because this could be one of the cheapest. Either way, we'll talk about that game at the end because that's the last game of the day. The first game of Sunday this weekend is the Knicks against the Mariners, and I've got the Mariners winning here. They smashed the Knicks recently in Wellington, and I think they're going to do it again. Wellington looked quite crap on the weekend, I think. And yeah, they got a draw playing the game mostly with 10 men, and that's a really good result because, they had less players and they still managed to get a draw. So it's all good there. I'm not turning on Wellington. I'm not saying that they're not going to, make finals or anything. I'm not making any snap judgments. I just think that Central Coast, having not played, are going to travel over to Wellington. They're going to be up for it, and they're going to beat the Knicks, who, I know at some point in the season, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. Outside of Victory and City, there's going to be a 6-game stretch where everyone's hyping up Wellington. But they look really crap on the weekend, and I think we're going to see more of that. I think they're going to slowly build up into the team that's going to threaten the bigger teams this season. And right now, yeah, I just think Central Coast will beat them. So, yeah, I'm tipping Mariners to win this one, and I don't think it'll be as convincing as the end of last season where they beat them 4-0, I think. I think it'll be a tighter game. And you know what? I'm going to go 1-0. I think it's going to be rather dead. But Central Coast will just have the firepower in Jason Cummings to, not the Cumming power. They'll come all over Central Coast. No, Wellington. And take the win. Then Macarthur versus Adelaide. Fuck me. Who wants to watch this? No, if it was at Adelaide's home ground, at least we'd be able to see the new Hindmarsh on the telly for the first time. But no, it's at Macarthur's home ground, and I don't know what to expect from these sides. I didn't tip an Adelaide win, but I tipped both of the sides to score 3 goals last weekend, and Macarthur scored none. Adelaide scored 1 in stoppage time after trying to give the keeper a vasectomy with a football. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of this game. I think it could be entertaining. I think there's a lot of good attacking players on both teams, and I think there's good players all around. Like, I have been tipping both these sides either in or around the top 6. I can't remember my own table predictions, but I've been expecting them to do well, and they could do well this weekend, but I also think that just traditionally, like Adelaide, boring. Macarthur, the 3 years they've been in the league, boring as fuck. This could be this should be the most boring game of the week. There's a chance it won't be, but if both of these sides play as dull football as they're capable of, I imagine many people will be driven closer to suicide watching this game. But it's football, so hopefully enjoy it. And yeah, finally, Western United against Sydney FC. This is a must-win for Sydney. Western United looked absolutely shambolic on Friday night, and Sydney need to capitalise on that because we started the season well, but at the same time, that victory game is still very typical of what's been our problem for at least last season, where like we had good games last season. We beat Western United 3-0. Playing well isn't our biggest problem. It's getting fucking results that's our problem. And yet again on Saturday night, and like I'm not even angry. Like, I was angry when it happened because we lost to the Tards the same fucking way we did when we left that stadium. But yeah, we need to be getting results. Like, that's the thing that's got to change, is we got to be winning the games that we build up, and the team and the fucking coaches obviously build up as a massive game. Like, you can tell the players care, but that they need to be getting results, and we didn't do that on Saturday. So this probably isn't as important as the victory game to anyone, but we need to get the points here. Western United don't look like a very competent team right now. The pillar of their defence, the pillar of what made them great last season, Leo Lacroix, looks like Joop van der Linden. We should know how to rip apart Joop van der Linden because it happened to us for a few games one season. So, yeah. I mean, look, also with Lacroix, by the way, because this is not just Sydney, this is talking about the A-League as a whole. With Lacroix, class is permanent, and I think that, like, maybe he won't reach the heights of what he did last season, but I think that just give him time. Like, it was a bad game. It was funny. Everyone laughed, but I don't think he's a crap centre-back, although I do think, yeah, best time to be playing Western because that performance against City should absolutely rattle them. Maybe it'll have an adverse effect and they'll bounce back and come out with a vengeance, but I'm choosing to believe that the performance against Melbourne City will rattle them a little bit, and Sydney's performance against Victory will ratify us, and we'll come down to Melbourne, we'll beat Western United, we'll get away end limbs and take the 3 points. So yeah, for this game, I'm going to go 1-0 Sydney. I think we're going to do it tough. I'm not completely sold on anything with Sydney FC yet, but I really feel like even with our questionable ability to play football at the moment, we should be beating Western United because what they put up last week was absolutely dreadful. And, you know, maybe I'm just being hopeful, but I don't reckon they'll turn that round over the course of, 9 days? Yeah. So 1-0 Sydney, and for my goal scorer, I'm going to go James Donachie. I reckon no one's going to overtake him for the Golden Boot this week, and we're going to have 2 consecutive weeks of James Donachie being top of the Golden Boot award list, whatever. So yeah, that's the games this weekend, and I mean, I'd like to apologise after doing that video. I'm going to upload this because I think it was coherent enough, and I got to the point eventually about each game, but this was pretty dull, personally. I want to do better videos than this, so yeah, soz for this being kind of brief and just not very in-depth. Hopefully next week will be better, but as I'll harp back to the main point in this video, I'm fucking exhausted after just 1 week of A-League. Maybe I'm getting old. I had to wait for an email today. Like, at home, I had to wait for an email to come. And, like, it said come within half an hour, waited half an hour, realized I put in the wrong fucking thing, and had to go change it, and it came in, like, 2 minutes. So, yeah. I'm a retard, I'm exhausted, but hopefully, despite all that, you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on what I've said in the comments below. And other than that, I appreciate you guys watching this, and I'll see you next time I make a video. Bye-bye.